So, GM farmers, welcome to this very special community call for our beloved farmers and everybody who's interested in the future of CropBytes. I'm your host for the first part of the evening. Later, we will have Cheryl, who's the marketing lead at CropBytes, who will join us on the stage to take you through some exciting stuff. And so, before I begin, I would like to say that the sentiments in the community have been intense, and everybody would agree to that. But we see this as a real gift. The fact that our farmers are dedicated to improving the game and will not shy away from sharing their voices. And I would like to thank all of you for your valuable feedback and suggestions. And I hope that you will continue to engage in the community as you do today. Joining us today is a panel who are deeply invested in the future of CropBytes and the Web3 gaming industry as a whole. We are joined by Siddharth, a thought leader in the gaming space who keeps pushing the envelope to ensure Web3 games remain at the cutting edge. Siddharth founded WazirX, India's biggest crypto exchange, and Tegro, which is a gaming assets marketplace. Hi, Siddharth.
Hey guys, thanks Abhishek for having me here, and thanks. Really looking forward for this community and kind of things that we're going to talk about today. And by the way, I've been with the though I'm not very active in CropBytes community, but I keep following, keep seeing feedbacks of everybody, and it's one of the most lively communities that's out there.
Thanks a lot for that, Siddharth. As you guys all know, Siddharth has been part of the team from the early days and has been contributing to building CropBytes to where it is today. Siddharth, we would love to hear from you of what you're building, and also it'll be great to hear a bold prediction from you about what the Web3 gaming space will look like, say by 2025, in a couple of years.
Wow, crazy. So first of all, I'm a big believer of Web3 gaming. It's not just now; it's before in 2018 itself. I was investing into games, and I always thought that games would be, crypto games would be next big thing. That time it was not even called blockchain game. But in that whole journey, most of the games that I invested in, I lost money. But there was one game that was still doing pretty good. That was CropBytes, and that's how I met Sandeep again. And one thing led to another, and I thought me and Sandeep we've been discussing a lot about how we can build CropBytes. I was running WazirX. WazirX is India's biggest exchange, and then there was a lot of learning around what we can do for CropBytes again, right? So together we've been figuring out, solving problems, and believe it or not, CropBytes have been growing and in a very different way, in a more sustainable way. Like I said, I've still invested in a lot of games. Most of them are almost dead. Good to see how CropBytes are doing. While I was building WazirX, right, success of WazirX, I still was very close to gaming, and I do believe that game has an immense possibility to actually create crypto adoption, and that led to for me to move out of WazirX, which is already big, to start Tegro. And the whole idea is to sort of collaborate together and help games go big, in whichever way we can, right? Both in terms of helping them get more investors, traders, helping them get better players, everything. And I think CropByte has been a very close to heart project with which even I learned a lot, and there's a lot of insight which we sort of brought together to do it. I think outside CropBytes, I'm one of the biggest evangelists for CropBytes. Wherever I go, whoever I speak to, I talk about it. Not just because I've been working, but if you think about it, right? If you have seen games like Axis, which I already predicted that it'll have a because we've been working on the economics part, right? Even in CropBytes, I knew that there was those economies are not sustainable. So I had bought Axis at $500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, but today it's worth only $1 or less than $1. But luckily, that has not happened in CropBytes, right? We have not had 1,000% drop, maybe occasionally 100% or max to that. So which means it's quite sustainable, and thanks to all the things, we've all been working together on that. And coming to the industry, right? How big Web3 looks like. So I'll give you some numbers. So in 2018, when I was going to more game studios and then trying to convince them you should build a blockchain game, they used to all hang up. They said, hey, blockchain gaming is scam. But I knew that, this is going to be big, and all the guys we've been working with. And what has happened in 2021 after Axie, almost uh, 10 to 15 billion has been invested into gaming space, Web3 gaming space. Now, 10 to 15 billion is a lot of money, right? So imagine, and the thing is that games cannot be made overnight. It takes a lot of time. It's hard work. Like I've seen CropBytes team, we've been working on this. You know, it seems like a very small feature, but that takes almost month, two, or maybe sometimes three, because you have to do a lot of testing. And even after that, it's not exactly how everybody wanted, but still, it's a cycle. So now imagine all these games coming in next 2 to 3 years, and the kind of value it's going to come in, right? So all these games who have raised money and been building, it's going to come. And I think luckily, CropBytes is being there. There's a big community. Everything is sustainable. I think this is a good chance for all of us as a community to grow together, right? So it's not just a team that grows, right? It's the entire community, because unlike any other game. So, for example, if you play Fortnite, if Fortnite becomes big, you don't become big, right? You are just still there. But luckily, in Web3 space, if say CropBytes becomes big, everybody who's been playing here or owning assets also become big. So it's all of us are together in this journey, and I think that's fantastic. I can't wait for the next cycle to come in and see where we are. So I think, yeah, I'm very bullish. One of the reason I left Wazirex to start Tegro, because I do believe Web3 gaming is next big thing.
Thanks a lot for that, Siddharth. I would totally agree with you. In terms of there have been like incredible stories of success and both failures in this Web3 gaming space. But I guess that would be the nature of any infant industry, right? We're just at the beginning of this, and there's so much work to be done. And gaming is the biggest entertainment industry right now, whereas the Web3 gaming space has a very small part to play in that. But from what you have mentioned, I think we'll be there. We'll be there in the big leagues in the gaming space as well. Thanks a lot for your insights, Sid. A lot more to engage with you in the call ahead. We have Sandeep on the call, our visionary strategist and CEO, whose insights shape the future trajectory of CropBytes, helping us stay ahead in the Web3 gaming curve. Hi, Sandeep. I would like you to come onto the stage and just share your thoughts on what's being built and what's happening in CropBytes.
Good evening, Abhishek, and all the fellow farmers. It's good to be here after a while, actually. I'm very happy to see all the fellow farmers, actually. And when it comes to what we have built on last 1 year, I mean, we have shipped quite a big features as asset mining and asset mining. So, I mean, we started this feature, although um, we started this feature last year, and after following with that, right, we have created a job mechanism. So right, who and all doing this asset mining, creating a more jobs, and we have created like a free to play mechanism also. I mean, this opens a door for the free to play mechanism, and we have seen many of our farmers opens playing it for free and spending their time and earning a CBX. And we have shipped V2 of CBX mining. So we're we're creating like a crafting mechanism, so it can able to increase your rewards on CBX mining. And another big thing like tokenization of assets also, right? We have the and we are aggressively having like a new partners that you guys all seeing our assets are listing in other our external markets like Tegro and Nifty Swap, and many more to come. And we are having we had built a tournament mechanism for fishing. Apart from this, like other many features, small features like spin the wheel and hibernation and the small things. Even these all the things built on last year. So it went pretty much. It went pretty well. And now we are focused on building transparency with the public dashboard. So all the metrics like will be coming on that game dashboard openly. It will be open to all the users. And you can see like in last few releases, every release we are improving some game mechanics or game VFX, and we are building some new onboard mechanism for new users to onboard and know about this game quickly. And we are doing some like major redesign of a UI and UX also. So all these things that we are working on, and we are excited to bring all these things to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for that, Sandeep. A lot of players over here are experts at creating tools and other products which helps other players better strategize. So I think with the that too with the available metrics and details that we are able to share, APIs are being handed from player to player. So I think when a public metrics dashboard comes, that will be even more empowering to our players who want to build or even use that to strategize in the game. So sounds really exciting, Sandeep. We'll get back to you with the new feature in hand, and you would like to hear more about you later in the call. Next, I would like to invite Cheryl onto the stage. Cheryl is our co-founder and the head of marketing, and who through her years of experience in marketing, working with big brands, and with her experience is trying to bring traditional gaming audiences into this revolutionary Web3 gaming space. That's a big task in hand. So yeah, we have Cheryl over here. Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Abhishek. Thank you so much for the introduction. Very, very excited for the call today. Something really big is coming up, something that will kind of provide a lot of hope for everyone here. So I'm very, very excited to kind of be here. And let's see what we have to uncover today.
Great. Guys, I would just like to take a moment to do the basic hygiene that we do on these calls. I would like to share some updates about the game, and that's something that we do on every call. So we'll do that, and then we'll jump right into the main part of the call. So the latest app release is about to go, and I would like to say that the next app release contains the CBX refining feature, which we'll be talking about in the next section. Apart from that, there is also a private fishing tournament that has been developed, and this is at the beta stage, and it's at the first phase of development, wherein we are trying to create a lot of great partnerships. We have our assets are tokenized. We are trying to send it out to major exchanges like Nifty Swap, Tegro, Playdex. We are trying to work with projects like Polygon Studios and things like that, and a lot more partnerships in discussion. And one thing that this private fishing tournament helps in our partnership is that we are able to provide this game that as an introduction to CropBytes, where people can just hop in and enjoy the game and earn some rewards. It's completely different from the traditional game demos and AMAs and all those serious things that happen. And our partners really loved this, that we are building this. So right now it's for that, and the next phase of private fishing tournament will be open to the community, and you'll be able to create private pools and compete with your friends and not apart from the main leaderboard. So yeah, and apart from that, there are some UI UX updates that you'll be observing. Since the asset withdrawals are live, you'll see some new features over there. But the main thing is the CBS mining feature, which we will talk about in the next session. So before we begin, guys, this is an important feature that is going to go live. So I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions as we discuss this. So we will take your questions towards the end, and it'll be great as you're listening. If you're able to jot down your questions, be ready with them towards the end so that we can engage. That will be great. That's it. I'm going to sign off now. I would like Cheryl to take over the stage and take us through the rest of the call.
Awesome. Thank you, Abhishek. So guys, what we have today is basically just, understanding. So I think we already did like a part announcement, yesterday where we've kind of taken you through the logic, but we have Sid with us today who can kind of enlighten us a little more on, the whys of the CBX mining update essentially. And then we'll also have Sandeep here who will be taking us through the exact, through more details, so like the why, what, and how of this. And we'll also be giving you guys more context. So Sid, I think, just to start with you, can you enlighten us on the evolution of economy in a Web3 game? So why is economy, or focusing on economy, such an important thing for the success of a Web3 game?
Absolutely. Thanks, Shel. See, one thing we'll all have to understand, right? The success and the failure of a Web3 game is not just the gameplay, but more to do with the economy. If the secondary market is very weak, it all fails. During the bull run, everybody thought, whether small, big, all the games were fun. But until the market crashes, that's when suddenly people say the game was not fun, right? But as long as everybody is able to have an financial opportunity, I think everybody loves the game. But what is this, right? How do you create this financial opportunity? So when I met Sandeep, right, like this was 2018, and that time I was already put in money into some games here and there, which obviously I lost. But more importantly, I was trying to study how games work, and I was running WazirX, and in WazirX, all I was doing was running markets, right, to build markets, even with Binance. Like WazirX was later part of Binance, so I was working at Binance as well. So we were trying to figure out how do you create liquidity, and one of the most important thing that we have realized is that I don't know if you guys remember. I'm not sure if everybody was there in that era. Before we had more like a pure NFT marketplace. And the biggest problem about pure NFT marketplace is it's very difficult to sell your assets. So before, if you had 10 cows or 20 cows, you had to place 10 or 20 different orders to sell, right? Listings to sell. And when somebody is buying 10 cows, he has to individually go to these 10 cows and buy it. So it was very much like the OpenSea experience. If you guys have used OpenSea, it's very much like that. What it did was it created a lot of friction for people to buy in bulk and sell, right? And the prices of the asset had to be more expensive because the number of times you can buy is very less. So that is something that we quickly realized, and that's why we try to create more fungible markets. So first thing what we did there was to in CropBytes was to create more fungible markets so that we can build on the liquidity. And this is where, if you see today in Axie Infinity or any other game, most of the games who have NFTs, you'll see they're struggling to even sell even one asset. So if you go into the blockchain, you'll see the number of sales is probably 20 or 30, wherein the number of transactions that happens on CropBytes on a daily basis is close to 60,000 assets being traded on a daily basis. That's record, by the way, right? It's much more than that. And how was that possible? Creating fungibility. So that's one thing that we did. So fungibility is the first evolution that even at CropBytes we did, right? And the most next one was another very important was something called as predictable supply. Now, what happened even at CropBytes, right? When an asset was creating demand and the price was going up, more and more users were coming, and they were able to mint more and more, token. And there was no, so it had to be centrally controlled. Maybe the team has to change the supply rate or things around it, which does not create trust within the team. So what was happening was, if more users come, suddenly more supply comes. I'll take a very classic example of Axie Infinity. So if you have played Axie Infinity, if 10,000 people play Axie Infinity, imagine you'll have 10,000 SLP that you mine. Okay. But suddenly when you have 1 million people who come, then it mines 1 million SLP. And if suddenly if the users come down, if it falls a little bit less, then you have 1 million of extra supply in the market. And that is high inflation. And one of the biggest reason why even Axie failed, because there was so much inflation that is coming in. So the only way the game will work is you need to get more and more people, but economy itself was very weak. And in CropBytes, we had fixed this probably early or late 2019 or 20. I don't remember the dates. I think Sandeep would know better. But what we did, we brought something called a difficulty, right? What we did was, even if you have 10,000 users or you have 1 million users, the rate of supply is always same, right? At which the new assets are created. And it's very similar to Bitcoin mining or Ethereum mining. So even if you have one mining machine in Bitcoin, the number of blocks created and the mining created is same. Or if you have 1 million or too many miners coming in, the rate automatically is same. Only thing is the difficulty goes up, right? So otherwise, imagine so many people are mining, there will be more Ethereum or Bitcoin coming, right? But that's not the case. It's automatically the network corrects itself. So we took inspiration from real economy and sort of brought that to CropBytes as well. And that literally stabilized our inflation problem. So that was the second part of the evolution. And this you have to understand. So that is why, if you see in CropBytes, we don't have hyperinflation. Everything, the vision for this whole economy is that we wanted to just create formulas which is transparent to everybody, and the system works on its own. So if you are very smart enough, you know what will be the demand in future, and you can buy and sell, trade accordingly, right? And also farm accordingly. So that was the most important thing that we did. And the third most important thing we did at CropBytes is also the fact that it was very difficult for people to get started with a game for free, right? So today, if I have to play any game, I have to buy an asset and play the game, right? It's very difficult. It's not possible because you don't have the money to play. So just like in real life, right? So not everybody has to create a factory to produce something, right? You can work at a factory. Yeah? You can work for somebody else. Some people have money, but they don't have the time. But some people have a lot of time, but don't have the money. So what we did, how do we connect that on? That's how the service economy or the job economy came in, wherein it's okay for you to not put money. You can just play for somebody else and create more value in the system. It's very similar to the real world economy. These are very milestone, changes that we did in CropBytes. And what we did is we trying to create an open source framework for this. We call it Tegronomics, and we are taking this economics to more games. So that's how everybody here is sort of contributing to the future of Web3 gaming. So in that, we learned a couple of things, right? One is the supply fungible, the first part. Second is the supply control, the second part. And the third part is the job economy, right? In this, also one more thing that we learned is that price volatility. Now, I don't know if you have seen the formula of how new assets are created. When asset one is whenever you are crafting an asset, you take an input asset, you play the game, so that is work in between, and work is multiplied by difficulty. So depending upon the demand of the network. So today, usually the difficulty is always above one. The difficulty is above one is that means there's a natural demand for creating that asset. The more people are trying to create assets, and the rate is lower. So because of which the so there's an output that comes in. Now, what has happened is, in our studies, we've been doing a lot of analysis, right? In that study, what is happening is there is one more small problem that is coming in, is called the price volatility. So we have a difficulty that gets corrected every week. But if for whatever reason there's new investors coming in, new folks coming in, and they buy the assets quickly, what happens is that creates more demand on CBX, right? So CBX price goes in. But what also is happening is because it's the conversion to CBX is instant. There are some people who directly convert to CBX and sell the market, and which creates a lot of price volatility, which is not good from a price perspective or a market perspective. And some those who are not doing it, they it's bad for them. So basically, what we are doing is just adopting from Bitcoin mining, Ethereum mining, and in the real world economy, we are sort of working on a new principle called as a delay principle, right? So it's a small variable delay. So instead of you getting it immediately to the new asset, there's a slight delay that will be there, which basically protects the market volatility. And this is internally, in fact, good for the economy, because what happens is when the demand comes in the market, it's able to sustain that market, and that creates more value for all of us who being part of this journey together. And this is how we'll be slowly doing it. In terms of how it works within the game, I think Sandeep would be the best person to talk about. But in our entire experience, from the entire evolution of fungibility, then predictable supply, then jobs market, now to a time delay, everything has been tried and tested, and it has been successful for us, right? Because if you compare other games which are not doing it, they've almost died, right? But here we are able to sustainably grow, and we want to take it to another level. So with this introduction of this, I hope you guys got this slight, feature or an improvement. But more importantly, we know economically it's a very huge improvement that we are doing, and step by step we will do it. We will learn from this, and then go back and make this thing. But you can be assured that we want to actually protect our players as well as investors and traders, such that there is no hyperinflation, there is no shortcuts, and we all play together to create more value for all of us.
Oh wow. Okay, so we've touched based on the evolution of economy. You kind of took us through this. We also covered the time value concept, right? That's kind of mentioned in Techonomics. CropBytes is also contributing this learning to Techonomics. Basically, our 5-year formula. So that, thank you so much for talking about that. Sandeep, I think it's time we take the team through the why, what, and how of this new update in the CBX mining logic. Over to you, Sandeep. So let's I think talk about firstly what this is, and even I think if you would like to add to what Sid mentioned, right? Anything on the economy piece, or anything on the how time value, how time value concept is implemented in CropBytes, if you'd like to touch upon that.
Yeah, definitely, Cheryl. So, I mean, there are two things here. Like, first, I will explain what is a feature and why we are doing that. And before that, right, I will say that what is happening now. So, as Siddharth said, importance of a time in this overall piece of economy. So here, what is happening? See, people are seeing our public numbers of a burn as well as a minting. What they are really thinking is, right, it is burning was very huge, and burning is very low, and minting was very huge. Even though the numbers numbers, I mean, on the dashboard, if the numbers are like 900k and 90k burn, but in reality, right, so what is happening, right, there are many other areas people are burning that. They for hibernation, if you see last month alone, right, for the hibernation, people have been spent nearly 94k CBX just for hibernation, and another nearly 120k CBX has been spent last month in order to reboost that health of the animals. So these are the numbers as not reflecting, and we are taking that live. And now here, what is happening, right? Although people are mining 900k, not everybody is selling. Only sell is around 5% to 10%. But what is happening, because is that as people can able to mine these CPX very instantly. So there is no gap. I mean, whenever there is some momentum to the CPX in these markets, so people can able to mine it immediately, and causing some shell pressure. And I mean, they are not giving some breathing space to the buyer actually. So the only this 5 to 10% of the total mine supply, right, that is causing, I mean, as they are not giving any breathing space to the buyer, so it is causing some disturbancy in this overall market actually. So here we want to, so right, in order to make it smooth, we want to add some refining process here. So the refining, what is the refining process now? The CBX, now what is happening, the CBX mining is getting instant, but right now it will be taking some X time, that will be multiplied by the typical CBX delay. So for example, once you start burning your extracts or crafts in CBX mining V1 or V2, so you suddenly, I mean, it will show you like the time, what is I mean, the time, how much it required, how much time it required to mine that asset, to mine that CBX. So the time for formula will be, although I think most of you gone through the block, I will be explaining in bit brief. So the time formula will be, there will be like a default X, which is like a 7 days, and that will be multiplied by CBX mining difficulty. So if the CBX mining difficulty is around like a 1.1, then the 7 will be multiplied. Uh, then then the 7 will be multiplied into 1.1, which is like 7.7 days. And as just we have like halving for every 10 weeks in the CropBytes CPX mining. Similarly, this time also having halving once in every 10 weeks, but it will be only a few hours will be adding on once every 10 weeks. So that same pattern will be followed. I mean, the same CPX mining halving will be followed to the time at the same time actually. So it will be happening at every 10th week of the CBX mining. Yeah. So this is this is a formula, and so what will happen, right? So it will give some stability, good stability to the markets also. So it will be like and same time that user is not spending anything extra here. I mean, he is not spending anything, so we are just getting the time actually. So it won't really disturb that profitability calculations of the user. So I think like it will be as it is going to create the stability of the market, it will be like a win-win for both that token as well as a user. Ideally, like if a token is performing good, it will be a winner for users only who is holding or minting that.
Absolutely. So yes, this feature will benefit players as well as a positive price movement for CBX, right?
Yeah, Cheryl. Yes, exactly. So that
Okay,
is what, right, we are bringing this mechanism. So ideally, if the price, if we have like, if we have some positive movement at CBEX, it's our win together, both for the platform as well as the user. Everybody will be winning here.
right. Awesome. Okay, so yes. So can we also talk about how this feature will benefit old and new players? And like what changes can players expect with this update?
Yeah. So here, right, this particular feature, we are not including. I mean, these mechanics will be same, and we are not adding some any extra ingredient to boost this time or anything actually. So like so for example, if you are adding any extra ingredient to boost which old user may hold something, right? I mean, it will be like it will be seems like some people who is holding that particular commodity which can able to boost this power may get benefitable like that. But right here, it will be equal for all the users. I mean, it will be because what we are getting is just a time actually. So it will be the same for old user as well as a new user. So that I mean, both are impacted equally here.
Got it, Sandeep. And Sandeep, also to touch upon, what changes will players see in the CBX mining process? So of course there will be a time, there will be some more time that would be taken, which we are calling refining. But can we also talk about the exact time and about the markets and stuff?
Yeah. So I said there will be like a default value X, which is 7 days. So that 7 days will be multiplied by CBX difficulty. So for example, if it is if the CBX, for example, if it is CBX difficulty is at 1.5 at that particular week, then the 7 will be multiplied by 1.5, which will be like 10.7 plus 3.5, 7 days plus 3.5 days, which is 10.5 days. So imagine the next week if the difficulty has been come down to 1.2, so then the 7 multiplied by 1.2, which is like around 8.4 days. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I think we have, most of this covered. I think we can also open the floor for more questions at this point. I think farmers, folks, if you have any more questions, if you have more questions for us, please put them down in the main community, and we'll kind of start taking them one by one. We'll also probably get a chance to answer some more something more for you guys in the process. So maybe we can start with the AMA and we can start with these questions immediately.
Yeah, sure. I'm seeing a question. Can I go answering it?
Yes,
Sure.
yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Hopeland NFT. If I mine some CBX at Saturday noon, will I got those CBX based on that week or based on the next week difficulty? So it will be on that particular week difficulty only. Hopeland. So for example, if you while you start if the difficulty is 1.5, it will be the same thing will be applicable when you receive these CBX mining rewards. So even though it is overlapping with the next week, but only the starting point matters here.
We have another question. Can you please put a more clear explanation in a blog? Yes, Kenny, we will be sharing a blog after this call, and you will get some more explanations. The formula will be put down. The time and all other details will also be mentioned. Looking for the next question. We have a few people writing. Maybe we can wait. In the meantime, I think Abhishek, Kevin, since you guys are here, maybe if you want to put down some visual references of how this would look like, that will be great. I think a few people had requested for some visual support as well. Okay, so we have the next question. What happens to burned extracts?
So
Sandeep?
burned extracts will be completely terminated from the ecosystem. So burned extracts will no longer use for anything. It will be completely out of ecosystem.
Yes. So we have another question by Iveras. So when we mine, that is start mining CBX, we get full amount after 7 days difficulty. Yes. Yes is the answer basically.
Yeah.
Right. So after you put for mining, after you put after you start mining, you will completely get that much CBX after 7 days.
Yes, actually it is 7 days multiplied by difficulty.
Yeah, sorry, 7 days multiplied by difficulty. I read
Yes.
that wrong. Okay, so we have the next question by Hopeland, which is, will the time in the mining in mining CBX be replaced later for a job, like happening in the asset mining? I mean, if we will see free to play apply in the CBX mining mechanism as well in the future.
So as you know, right, like this economy is evolving. So down the time, if you feel that that is, that is also something like which is on. We are doing some rapid simulations, and we are spending like a lot of time and money on doing this analysis on the economy. If in the analysis, if we feel that right, if we feel that like it is positive to do that, we will be doing that. But this can be possible that, but overall, right, we after that final analysis only, right, we can able to get that out or take that call.
I hope that answers your question. Please keep the free to play far from CB.
Sorry, repeat it again. Please keep CB.
No, that's not. I mean, that's his. That's a comment that he's left after I think your answer, which is please keep free to play far from CB.
Okay.
Okay, we have another question. Do you have plans to introduce new assets except superheroes like bees or ostrich and so on? This is an off-topic
No
question, but
plans.
I think we can answer it.
No plans at this moment. Right now, we are. Our assets are overloaded actually. So not in a near future or far future.
Yeah, one more thing I just wanted to share there, and I think some people have been telling this also. So it's most of the games, which has failed in recent times, it has failed because they have too many assets. So they are not able to build good demand for all the assets, and even a investor or a trader who's buying, he's confused which asset to buy, and ultimately it affects the game and it crashes the economy. Luckily, we learned this hard ways 4 years back, Sandeep, right? In the last bear market, where CropBytes also had a lot of assets, but then we removed and we made it smaller, less assets, and that got better demand. And the idea is to focus on quality versus just quantity. And this has been sort of the learning, and it's better to have good assets where more demand we are able to create, and as and when the demand increases, I think we can easily add more.
Thanks for that, Sid. Okay, I'm moving on to the next question, which is again by Hoplan. On this new CBX mining plan, are you adding the pro extracts?
So pro extracts is not part of this actually, this CBX mining. But ideally, right, the same formula will be applicable on all the areas down the line. Similar algorithms, right, will be applicable at each and every place of these each and every cycle of CB.
Right. We have another question on extracts, and I think Sandeep, that reminds me we should also be talking about the extract markets. But going to the question, are there any new use cases line up for extracts like fur, feather, horse, and hair?
So right now, if you look last year especially, we have got like many of extra use cases for these extracts. We have make them utility in these asset mining, as well as breed feed is also one of the area where user can able to spend these extracts, as well as indirectly asset my these extracts will be used in pro mix. At the same time, right, it is having its core feature, which is like a CBX mining. Down the line, we constantly we constantly do analysis, and we'll provide like a bit of more use cases when it is required. But for now, right, these are the three use cases what extract is having. And one more thing, after doing some decent analysis, and we are about to close these extracts market very soon, and we'll be getting that announcement from the official CropBytes channels shortly. Mostly, the markets will be closed on Saturday evening. Extracts market.
Yeah, so about like 24 hours from now. Okay, so I think I guess a lot of people are asking us for a blog. Abhishek and Kevin and everyone else in the marketing team, if we can actually just probably put out the blog and the announcements that need to be lined up, maybe do it right away after this call. That will be great for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. So there was one master CBX mining blog, which was the V1 blog, and there was the V2 blog. So what we have done now is, since this is a feature for a very long term, we'll update the master blog and have all of this included as a part of it. So we were hoping to introduce this new feature as we have this discussion over this call. And as soon as it's done, we would share all the details through the blog. So yeah, right after the call, you can expect that to go live.
Nice. So while we are waiting for a few more questions, I guess I can see I can see some people writing. Um, we are looking forward to do this new release sometime around Monday. Kevin, if you're here, correct me if I'm wrong. Monday is the date for the release. And we will keep you updated about that as well on the community.
Yeah, that's what we are looking forward to. So the app is already in review, and hopefully by Monday we'll be able to take it.
Thanks for that, Kevin. Okay, so we have the next question. CBX needs use case. Are you open to create player versus player inside CropBytes? I'm referring to a third company creating mini games inside the CB farm.
So ideally that has been the plan, but right, more before that, right, we have like other priorities, and that is what we had done in last quarter and coming coming quarter also. Ideally, what is the thing now, if you see these fishing mini game, now it became like very exciting. This its gameplay is a bit exciting now, and there are like many variations are coming with this recent update of these bubbles actually. So instead of creating a PvP, right, we are more likely to create the tournaments which are paid, and pool based tournaments actually. So more than this PvP, we just want to start with these fishing game tournaments.
Yes. And just to kind of add there, tournaments are doing really well. While we are working with a lot of partners, we see other communities going gaga over the tournaments. The tournament that we have, the fishing tournament, and okay, just something that's already happening inside is that we are building something very exciting with respect to that. The product team and the marketing team is working on this, and I think the fishing tournament, is going to be much more exciting. Can't wait to kind of share that with you guys. I think in the next couple of months it should be out. Okay, we have we have another question, which is um okay, that's just Hopland saying, with calls like this, we can pass the bear market and keep the community happy. Absolutely. That's why we've kind of decided that every time we have an important update, an important feature, we'll try and get on a call with all of you guys. We do talk very frequently, with a lot of the other community members, but we'll definitely take that feedback and kind of do this. Okay, moving on to the next question, Tushar.
Yeah. Can I answer that,
Tushar
Tushar's
asks.
question?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just read it out.
Okay, go ahead.
Any plan
Sorry.
to absorb extra CBX supply by staking features, long term 6 to 12 months, and staking either extracts or CBX? Sorry, Sid, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and so I'm going to give you a very general answer about staking in general, right? So we think staking is absorbing supply, but actually it does not. What happens is you just temporarily create a time bomb. So I've been working with a lot of projects in terms of tokenomics and things, and I think in 2019, 2021, everybody thought about using staking as a feature to remove circulating supply. Now, what happens is when you take staking and there is a 3% APY or maybe 100% APY, what happens is after 6 months or 1 year, there is more supply coming to that asset, right? So, for example, when you stake an asset and you're going to get say 3% or 5% or 10%, that means so much more supply is coming. So after 1 year, what happens is you have more supply. So that's one of the reason that even here we're taking it as a last option. But yes, Sandeep has been working really hard to figure out other ways to absorb the supply, like, more in terms of burning, where it's just taken out of the circulation itself. So yeah, in general, staking is a temporary relief, but in long term, it's not a good solution. And CropBytes, I think it's a game that can go for multi-year. Just like if you have seen Farmville, which has been working for 10 years, right? People have been playing 10 years. Here in the real economy, I think it has potential to be for multi-year.
Awesome. So we have another question by Kike. I hope I'm getting your name right. Does CropBytes have a plan for more use cases for CBX? Sandeep, do you want to take this?
Yeah. So I mean, right now also, right, it is having like pretty much of decent use cases. I can say like, I mean, that's what just before I'm communicating like hibernation feature, right? Last month's burn is like 95, around 94K, and health for the health. For the health revamp feature, which was burned like a 120K. So like these, right, there are like many smaller things which is observing the supply. So these details, right, we will be keeping open via a public dashboard.
Yeah, I think Sandeep, there's a follow-up question by Patrick on a burning event.
Yeah. Yes, this is also like a very I mean, a long waited event which we want to do. Mostly, right, we'll not make any further delay in the, will not take much time. So for to do this the burn event, because like there are a lot of supply supposed to be burned. So all this supply lies on this technically lies on like our cold wallet. So that supply will be moved to a burn wallet very soon, and I hope we're trying our best to happen this event very soon actually. And once it is out, like people can able to see that all the supply of a burn, what is the supply and how much is burning. And we are planning to we are I mean, as a part of making like on-chain events, so whenever there is something or some mining what happened, right, instantly, right, we are planning to this mining will trigger that asset in the for asset mining, this mining will instantly trigger that asset in the contract. At the same time, it will be sending these CBX to the burn wallet. So those mechanisms are also in pipeline actually. So we'll do that very soon.
Yes, I think Tushar and Kenny, I see you guys had similar questions, and I think Sandeep has already answered them. So, yep, waiting for a few more questions. I think we can take questions on the call for about another 5 minutes, and then we can continue taking them on the community. Okay, so we have another question by RL, which is, what can you say about the current state of the economics of asset mining?
So current state, that's a very interesting question actually. So if you see these last 2 months before, right, so there is not many users, right, want these animal assets. So but suddenly, right, these animals, with the drop of these food feed price, all the animal assets become profitable, and now everybody running towards these assets actually. But what happened, right, because of this demand and this asset mining economics, so getting of this animal in market became very cheap, and rather than mining these via asset mining. So that is the reason why the demand for animals are also going up in the exchanges. I mean, not only just our CB exchange, you can see there's some good demand for assets which are listed outside of this exchange also, like Tegro as well as Nifty Swap. There are like decent number of trades happening there. So we are planned to open up like some more markets for these assets actually. So what will be happening? So because of this price saturation, I mean, because this price, it became very cheap to get in exchange rather than mining, right? So now we see like from last 2 weeks, right, you can see like less mining is happening. But again, when the price price in the exchange reaches near to that threshold price of these assets, mining. So again, the people, we can see like people will start mine these animal assets. So this has the cycle actually. If you carefully understand, if you carefully observe this, right, this is a cycle. And this is what the beauty of economics, and that is what CropBytes is creating. All these economics, right? All these economy, we are building it.
Yes, absolutely. Sid, do you want to add to this?
Yeah, I think, very high level, right? What we all have to understand, right? Comparing this to a real world economy, the heart of everything is, yes, there is mining of assets, right? But most importantly, it's not just CBX that's more valuable. The idea is to create value for everything that is there in the system, right? So CBX is there for external people, but assets is where the real value is, right? So in real life, if you hold a house, it has more value than you hold a cash, right? People invest in cash. So here also, people have been buying land or buying animals and everything, every other assets eventually have more value in it. And so that's more opportunity for everybody. So if say for example CBX is down, that then people can easily invest in assets. Or when it's up, it's easy, right? There's more opportunity. But at the core of everything that we have to understand, and I think that the team has been working really hard on it, is to take this markets to more people, take these assets to more people. Because right now it was always targeted only to a CB user, and that's just a small number, right? In the sense, I mean, there are billions of users on the internet. How do you go to more people? When we do that, when there are more buyers into the gaming assets, it creates value for those assets more, which in turn create value for all of us here, right? So the heart of everything for all of us to understand is to create more value for our asset. We need to make sure more new people are buying from outside CP. Yeah, so after tokenization, which took a lot of time because it's not an easy tech. After that, asset has been now being listed on Nifty Swap, Tegronomics, OpenSea. Now there are new buyers who are buying who have never seen CropBytes before, and they're pretty interested in knowing this. They're trading this out, and this demand ultimately helps CropBytes community. So another very important request from all of you guys is to keep promoting this. Keep promoting CropBytes assets to more people, whether they can buy from CropBytes or Nifty Swap, Tegro, anywhere. But keep doing that so that we can create more value for the assets that we have in CropBytes again. And the idea is to build onto it. Economy is much more stable if you think about it. There is no hyperinflation because of which prices are fairly stable. It may go 50% up and down. I think that's in crypto, everything is going 50% up and down. So it's still fine, but it's not as bad as Axie Infinity or somewhere else. If you've been playing Axie Infinity, they have a token called as SLP that has crashed like crazy. Right today, the SLP has no use case because it's hyperinflated. They can't even use it. I mean, luckily we did not make that mistake. We realized those mistakes much early in 2020 and changed and brought in asset mining with difficulty and many deflationary protocol basically, right? We brought in just to control this. So if you think about it, the team is very dedicated in terms of protecting investors, traders, and players here, and being very very serious about it, right? So for example, I work on economics, and when Sandeep also works, some things, there's a lot of data that has to be computed, right? Like you don't just change economy just like that. There's a lot of simulation you have to do. It takes months, and sometimes some things is not very friendly for you players. And Sandeep always ferociously fights or fights with me, literally saying, hey, this we cannot do because our players will not like it. So that's how we sort of work. And I say, hey, from an economy point of view, it's not sustainable. And somewhere we discuss and find new solutions. And that's how we are able to build this out more sustainably. So I think very importantly, we have to understand that the idea is long term, being more sustainable, not quick rich, right? But a game which has been there for more than 5 years, still quite stable, still has a lot of users. It has almost 10 to 11K users daily, which is more than the, there is no other game in Web3 which has so many users, right? So I'm in the industry for a long time. So there's a lot of things that is very unique to CropBytes, and that gives me a lot more confidence into what future holds for CropBytes.
Thanks, Sid. Yep. So we have a few more questions, guys. We've already kind of crossed, the time that we had set out for this call, but we'll just take the last 2 or 3 that I see here. RL says, could you clarify in the future the formulas that are being used? Because if the mining price depends also on the market, then I don't see how it will reach a tipping point, or it could create a spiral of increasing prices. Interesting question. Sandeep said, do you guys want to take this up?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I think so that the economies of these calculations that we are doing, right? It's not something very new. It is Bitcoin mining. So I've been doing Bitcoin mining, many years back. We did Ethereum mining also. There's a lot of formulas in terms of calculating Bitcoin, Ethereum mining. And what we have done is that is already a proven system, right? It's not something that just started 2 years back. It's been there for almost 5-10 years. And we have taken inspiration from there. Many of the questions we saw, like the exact question that you asked is, hey, how does that work? How will it always be deflationary in nature? Will it always create, where the prices will also always go up? In a high level, yes, right? In a long term, yes, because the whole supply is deflationary in nature, just like Ethereum or Bitcoin in that nature. But that what we also substituted is that unlike other games, you don't always have to own this asset to play the game, right? That's one of the reason we built a service economy or the job economy, wherein even if you don't have the money, you can still earn money, right? Like in the sense you can still earn CBX by playing for somebody else. And that's how we wanted to sort of balance it out so that everybody gets a chance. Today things are very cheap, right? Today everything is cheap, assets are cheap, everything is cheap. But imagine, if we are able to bring in, millions of more users, the number of assets has to be a lot more, right? And we are actually working on planning how do we build for millions of users. What do we need to do and come back? And we are very serious about it, right? In terms of building it out. And ultimately, the whole heart and soul of everything is to create more value for all the people who probably have bought things, assets or anything in the long term. So in the long term, if you look at this, simply look at the supply graph, and it's very similar to Bitcoin or Ethereum supply graph. And there's a control of supply graph. So automatically you know what to do. Like, I don't think so you need to do a lot of calculation. You just know in 5-6 years where this can be.
Sandeep, do you also want to take this?
No, Cheryl, I'm good. Sid answered that.
Okay, awesome.
And one thing I want
So
to
we
clarify
have,
is, sorry, one thing, Cheryl.
yeah.
So one
Sorry,
thing, what I
please
want
go
to
ahead.
clarify to that question, right? Same question. See, mining price is not depends upon the market price actually. Based the formula is not related actually. There is no relation for our current mining, asset mining, right? There is no relation with the market price. That I want to clarify. That's it.
Yeah. So basically the supply graph is nothing to do with the price. And if you see, the formula has no input price as an input. But if the price goes up, that automatically creates more demand. That automatically creates more mining pressure. But the supply rate will always be same. So it's in a way it's good for anybody who's early into the game. And also anybody who comes later also, there is no hyperinflation, so they will not lose value as also.
Yes. So we have another question by Tushar, which is any use case for pro asset as breed feed and pro mix? Sorry, any use case for pro assets as both breed feed and pro mix are at a discount. Pro extract values are at negative in both.
So when it comes to this pro mix, pro extracts, this use case is to mine these. This use case is to do asset mining actually, because that is a part of the Promix. So at this moment it has been in negative, because right, not many people are doing this asset mining. But right, if when the cycle comes where everybody want to, where it is where the situation comes like it is cheaper to mine asset rather than buying. So it's, just before we are discussing, right, everything is a cycle actually. At sometimes it will might be a cheaper in exchange, but costly to do a mining. But sometimes, right, after some cycle it may be reverse, like it may be expensive in exchange and cheaper to do a mine. So if that cycle comes again, right, people require like more breed, more pro mix or pro extracts. So at that time, right, again it may come into the negative. So that is all about like here, right, it's all about like creating a new use case. It's all about like following the cycle.
I just want to add to that. I think Sandeep did not tell you that, so when we were looking at the formulas, when we were looking at what users are doing, there are very smart people who understand this cycle. And what they do is whenever the cycle is low, they're just accumulating it so that they can play on the other cycle. And this is not something that we told them. They did the calculation and that's how they are playing. But that's definitely a long-term cycle in the sense, maybe it takes a month or two to come back to a profit cycle. But it's very similar to even a Bitcoin cycle or an Ethereum cycle anywhere, right? Price sometimes go up, sometimes come down. So when it comes down, some people buy, but they have to hold on to it till it goes up. So even we saw when an asset is low and the difficulty is low, some people are always constantly increasing their mining rate. And we were wondering what are they doing? And then we realized in the next cycle, they are holding it for selling. So I think in general, it has created microeconomy very, very similar to in a real economy and still under control, right? Because there's no hyperinflation that is protected. So everything that happens is within this ecosystem. So you will have these micro cycles in play, which is good to see how users are playing.
Yes, absolutely. I think so. Patrick, I see you've asked a similar question, and we're also trying to answer that in the community. I think Sid and Sandeep are talking about the same stuff. I think so guys, we're taking the last question for today, which is by Hope again. We will see the possibility to do. Will we see the possibility to do asset renting inside the farm? Like if I want to send a FCL to a friend and earn for that.
So that those are all like tricky questions, right? He's saying like keep earlier I see the Copeland NFT saying like keep free to play far away from CropBytes, and similarly, right, it is good for me and CropBytes team to keep far away to be keep distance from these questions, because right, we don't want to speak anything upfront actually, because right, once we say yes, right, then you guys will be following everything like when it is it. So if I want to anything we are building, right, we'll be announcing, giving some heads up in that quarter. And so on going forward, we'll just what and all we are building on that particular quarter, right, we are announcing it at the starting of the quarter. And if there is any specific feature which is very important, and which is very important for users also to know that is coming, that will come later, those things, those questions, right, those information will pass out earlier. But for this, it's
Yes.
very good for me to add, like to keep
I
my
think
trust.
Sandeep, I think what we should do is we'll do another community call where we just dream and talk about all the different possibilities that and all the different suggestions that we've gotten from players. Maybe just yes, family gathering or whatever, like just call it something and just like get on a call and just discuss this stuff. But yes, definitely not on this call. Yes, Patrick and Hope, no more tricky questions for us, please. Okay, last question. Okay, last, Kenny, no more guys, no more questions. Or please please share questions, but we'll answer them on the community for you. Last question by Kenny. Can we update our website header menu, make them using same, cause something when we enter to the other page, the menu will show differently? Kenny, we'll speak about this. I don't understand the question, but we'll solve the problem. We'll see what we can do for you. No, that's all right. Okay, awesome. So I think let's call it a night, guys. What do you think? Like, we can probably take a few more questions on the community. And this has been great. I hand over the mic to Abhishek. Abhishek, please come back. Let's end this call. We'll also do a quick recap for anyone who's probably not a recap, but like let's just go through all the pointers once, maybe for anyone who joined a little towards the end of the call. And yes, Kenny, the blog page we are sharing this. Kenny, we will be sharing the blog page, and all these announcements are going immediately after the call. It's all lined up. Don't worry, you have everything. Abhishek, over to you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all the awesome questions.
Question.
And
And
sorry, I could hear my voice again for some reason. But thanks, guys. Abhishek, are you here?
Yes. So I think that was a really exciting and informative session. I would like to thank Siddharth, especially for being a special guest on this call with our little farm family. So thanks a lot for your time, Siddharth, and thanks a lot for your insights into what we are building. And thanks a lot to Sandeep and Cheryl also. And last but not least, thanks to everyone who stayed during this call for so long. This is a very exciting update, and let's. I can't wait to see the effects of this. And yes, we will share the blog after this. We will also be sharing a recording of this call, since this particular time may not have been convenient for everyone. So we will be sharing a recording of that as well. We hope to see more questions coming in the community, and we'll be there today and throughout the weekend to answer them as well. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're saying something, sir. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day. And all the updates are coming out immediately after this call. You'll see them. We'll probably hang around on the community for some time. If there are any more questions, we can answer them. And feel free to DM us for anything. We are here and looking forward to the next release. See you.